Now at 10.
This Seguin woman sentenced to decades in prison for leaving her mother's body to decompose for 3 years. Tonight, we hear from police.
Plus, the debate America has been waiting for. We take a look at some of the highlighted moments as President Donald Trump and Joe Biden face off.
There is a high chance that it's circulating in the air.
The spread of the coronavirus while outside. Tonight, the new UTSA study that says the outdoors may not be as safe. The researcher tells me the ideal weather to not get infected.
One NFL team suffers a coronavirus outbreak. Could that shut down the league?
With fewer weddings and big events going on because of the pandemic, not many people need to rent a limo. We talked to the owner of one limousine company who tells us how he's been getting by.
Eyewitness News at 10 starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Deborah Knapp.
And I'm Aaron Wright. First at 10, debate night in America.
Tonight was the first time President Donald Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden faced off in a debate, and things heated up quickly.
Neither candidate wasted time throwing punches. Many times the moderator had trouble keeping things calm.
I'm not going to answer the question.
Why would you answer that
because
question?
the question is
the question is Justice, radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen,
Coming up in just a few minutes, we have highlights from the first debate, including some of the topics they discussed, from the coronavirus to Trump's taxes. A daughter now sentenced to 30 years in prison for leaving her mother to die and living with the decayed body for years.
Eyewitness News reporter Zach Briggs talks to the Seguin police chief about the horror uncovered in this investigation.
Horrific is the only word that really comes to my mind.
It's been over a year since Seguin police discovered the skeletal remains of 71-year-old Jacqueline Creighton inside this house after investigating claims of child abuse.
This is the things that make TV shows out of and movies. You don't think something like this could ever happen.
Jacqueline's daughter, Delisa Creighton, now pleading guilty, admitting she left her fallen mother on the bedroom floor to die, her body left to rot for 3 years.
How can you do that to anyone, let alone your own blood, your mother, the person that gave birth to you, that has raised you and got you to where you are in life, to simply shut the door and pretend like the person on the side door doesn't need any help is just unfathomable.
Delisa convicted of multiple felony crimes, 2 related to injury to elderly and 1 for injury to a child. That child being Delisa's daughter, who, according to court documents, was prevented from attempting to help her grandmother.
It's hard to imagine, again, what that child grew up in, spent multiple years of her life in, and we're glad to have this behind us. We're glad the defendant accepted responsibility and now will be spending probably the rest of her adult life in prison.
Police Chief Terry Nichols says Jacqueline, who worked for Seguin ISD for 35 years, touched the lives of many.
Jackie Creighton was a long-standing member of our community, very well liked, very well loved, and it hit this community very hard.
And Chief Nichols tells me that the house where this incident took place was a few months ago was demolished and condemned. Reporting live tonight, Zach Briggs, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
City and county officials are reporting more than 400 new coronavirus cases tonight. Mayor Ron Nirenberg says 207 of those cases are older cases from September 15th through September 23rd. They came from batches of test results, which several labs sent to Metro Health. The remainder, 262 cases, are from the past 7 days. 5 new deaths were also reported tonight, and the mayor gave the weekly update for the school risk level. Right now, it's in the lower end of the moderate zone. The positivity rate is just under 6%. It needs to get down to 5% or lower to move into the low-risk zone for in-person learning.
Now at 10, the coronavirus may spread farther than first thought when we're outside. That's according to a new study from the University of Texas at San Antonio. It looked at the way the virus travels during certain weather conditions. Eyewitness News reporter Henry Ramos shares the science.
What happens if an infected person releases a sneeze or a cough outdoors?
Kiran Baganer wanted to find the answer to that question. How easily can the coronavirus spread outside?
Does it get diluted right away? Does it mix with the surrounding air and gets washed away? Or can there be any potential harm?
Several months ago, the UTSA Associate Professor of Mechanical Engineering got to work. She wanted to see if air currents play a role in transmitting the virus. Her main focus for the study, a major hotspot for COVID, the urban areas of New York City. She used a real-time simulation of a coronavirus field cough released in the atmosphere, mixed with weather conditions. Essentially, when the wind was low, the virus could live up to 30 minutes in the air, and it could travel up to 1 mile outdoors. But when the wind was high, it was harder for the virus to spread.
If you have high winds and then it gets blown away very quickly, so within a few seconds, it gets diluted. So even though it's there, it's that time scales which makes a difference. So will it get diluted in a second or will it get diluted in 30 minutes is what makes a difference.
Bottom line, Bogdaner's research suggests the stronger the winds, the better.
So that, it can easily disperse much faster, and it's that stagnant low wind days is where we do not want too many of those.
Henry joins us live outside UTSA. Henry, what is her conclusion about how safe we are outside?
Aaron, first off, it's worth repeating that the study was focused again in an urban area. Her findings found that 6 feet social distance outside may not be as adequate. The other thing is something that should be no surprise. It's something we've been hearing all along. The researcher says wearing our mask outside is our best protection. We're live tonight outside UTSA. Henry Ramos, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
Henry, thank you. New at 10 Bexar County schools will soon be getting $7 million to help with virtual learning. Judge Nelson Wolf says they have approved $3.5 million. He says the money will go to 15 different school districts to help with technology and internet. Wolf says Governor Abbott will match their $3.5 million. The money is expected to be sent out this week.
A person was taken to the hospital after a shooting outside a convenience store on the northeast side. SAPD says they responded to a call at the intersection of Rittiman and Gibbs Sprawl Roads this afternoon. Chief William McManus says there was some kind of drug deal in the parking lot of the store. He says there are possibly 2 other victims. No word yet on a suspect.
Tonight marked the highly anticipated first presidential debate. As we mentioned earlier, things got heated.
There were a lot of interruptions and insults. Skylar Henry has reaction from Ohio.
President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden wasted no time trying to score points during their first debate.
That you're going to extinguish 180 million people with their private health care, that they're very happy with.
That's simply not true.
But their interaction quickly dissolved into insults.
I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
The people understand, Joe.
They sure
47 years you've done nothing.
And anger.
Will you shut up, man? Listen.
The coronavirus and the president's handling of the pandemic was also one of the debate's main topics.
It's a very political thing because people like this would rather make it political than save lives. They're going to be delivering.
This is the same man
it's
who
all
told
set
you
up.
by Easter this would be gone away. By the warm weather it'd be gone. Miraculous, like a miracle. And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm and that would take care of it.
They sparred over taxes. Biden released his 2019 returns hours before the debate and called on the president to do the same. A New York Times story published Sunday reported President Trump only paid $750 in taxes in 2016 and 2017, and none in many previous years.
Paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax.
And he does take advantage of the tax code. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts.
The debate was held here in a state that's vitally important to both candidates with 18 electoral votes. The CBS News Battleground Tracker currently shows Ohio as a toss-up with President Trump slightly edging Biden. They won't have to wait long for a second round. The two will meet again in Miami 2 weeks from Thursday and a final time in Nashville, just a week and a half before Election Day. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Cleveland.
The vice presidential debate is next Wednesday in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Your KENS 5 voter team is here to be your guide for election 2020. A major part of our job is to answer your questions. Our team was asked, how do I apply for an absentee ballot? All you need to do is head to votetexas.gov. Then just scroll down to the tab that says application for ballot by mail. You can either print off the request for yourself or request one to be mailed to you. You can also find the link to apply for an absentee ballot on kens5.com/voterguide.
New at 10, a limousine service in San Antonio grinds to a halt. With many celebrations canceled, fewer calls are coming in. Eyewitness News reporter Holly Stouffer tells us what's keeping the owner optimistic as the state continues to lift restrictions.
At 13 years old,
this was a childhood dream.
Jeffrey Clark had plans to help people arrive in style. He drives them all around San Antonio. He's done it for more than a decade.
Your limo is here.
Rolling out the red carpet for fancy occasions and even Sunday worship.
They just wanted to ride to church in the luxury car.
The pandemic has put many celebrations on hold, causing Clark's limousine service to hit a bump in the road.
We was dead completely from March through, I would say, August.
With fewer weddings, proms, and military events, rides are slowing down.
We lost probably about a good $80,000 this year.
Clark may have to sell one of his 3 limos, but he thinks they're finally turning a corner. Over the last few weeks, calls are slowly starting to come back in.
We've done about maybe 3 jobs. It's giving me hope.
Kneeling beside his 2-year-old grandson, Clark polishes up for the next ride. He's determined to keep his dream alive and in the family.
This is a legacy that I would like to pass down.
Holly Stouffer, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
One of San Antonio's holiday traditions will see some changes this year. The Raul Jimenez Thanksgiving dinner has been around for 40 years, but for the first time ever, people won't be served at hundreds of tables. Organizers say they plan to deliver 10,000 meals door to door. The changes are due to coronavirus concerns.
Skies are clear and the winds are light, so how low will we go tonight? Plus, another cold front before the weekend. Aaron?
Bill, thank you. A device was originally made to detect weapons, but now it's got a new purpose. How it's helping to slow the spread of the coronavirus.
He's taking center stage and hitting all the right notes.
He is so gifted musically.
Tonight, meet this week's KENS 5 All-Star Student of the Week.